Evening, everyone. Urab Desai here with the tropical update for Monday, September 24th, 2018. And if we take a look at the tropics today in the Atlantic Basin, there's still a decent amount to talk about. There's only one active named storm at the moment, and that would be a subtropical storm Leslie. But we do still have some areas of disturbance, disturbed weather to watch as we have 98L just off the Carolina coast now. We also have an area that's forecast to form near where Leslie is right now. If we take a look at the National Hurricane Center site, we have the disturbance 30 here, 50% chance of formation in the next 5 days. 0% chance, however, in the next 2 days, but it's forecast to stay offshore. It's forecast to just be a fish storm. It's basically just going to impact areas that are out here in the ocean, and it's not going to impact any land, which is good news. And we also have the remnants of Tropical Storm Kirk, which actually degenerated into a remnant low this morning. So it did not strengthen like they forecasted it to. However, it does still have a 50% chance of reformation within the next 48 hours and the next 5 days. And if you take a look at subtropical storm Leslie right now, you can see that there is some thunderstorm activity that's trying to fire up around the center. However, it's not very organized, and it's not very intense either. The cloud tops are not very warm. If you look at the scale here on the right side of the screen, you can see that the core cloud tops are usually defined by darker reds and blacks, and most of the colors here that you see with Leslie are more green and yellow and orange, which indicates that the storm is not firing very strong thunderstorms up. And if we take a look at the forecast track, it's forecast to stay relatively weak. It's only a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm right now, and it's just going to be basically doing a kind of a U-turn kind of thing, or more of like a C shape, a backward C, as it heads east and then north and then back west. And it's going to become an extratropical, a non-tropical cyclone by sometime tomorrow into Wednesday, and it does not look like it's going to be impacting any land, at least not anytime soon, which is definitely good news. And if we take a look at the model track guidance, the model track guidance shows very interesting pattern here. It looks kind of like a spider web or something. It's very disorganized, as all the models don't even know what really to do. But you can see that there is a decent consensus here that is going to go east, then head back west around 4 to 5 days. So it's just going to basically meander here in the central Atlantic, and it's either going to die off or become extratropical and no threat to land, which is definitely good. And now taking a look at 98L. 98L is definitely looking a lot more robust than it did past few days. As you can see on the satellite imagery, as you can see on the satellite imagery, the cloud tops are very cold now. You can see by the dark reds and the black colors here that this thing is trying to get organized. It's firing up some very strong thunderstorms. However, the thunderstorms are not right around the center of circulation. The center of circulation is to the south, around over here where my mouse is. Excuse me. And so it does have some time still to get organized, but the time is running out. And if we take a look at the National Hurricane Center, they have a 50% chance of formation at the moment, and it says that the environmental conditions are expected to become slightly more conductive over the next day, but by Tuesday night and Wednesday, the upper level winds, the wind shear will increase, and if it does not develop by then, it's probably going to get sheared apart. And if it does develop, it'll probably still get sheared apart by Wednesday. And if we take a look at the wind shear map, this wind shear is very evident. And as you can see right now at the center of circulation right about here, it's in this small area of low wind shear of only 5 to 10 knots. However, it is heading north up here into wind shear of 30, 40, 50, 60 knots. And yeah, definitely by the time it gets up here, it's going to get totally ripped apart. And then it will be probably heading out to sea. But if we do take a look now at the track, most of the models do have it approaching the Outer Banks, North Carolina, in about 2 days from now, and then they have it going out to sea or impacting the Canadian Maritimes, but by the time it gets to this point, it would either be an extratropical cyclone or it would be just a remnant low. Um, but it will be what it will be doing is it will be dumping some rain here in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Um, and if you take a look at the intensity forecast, most half the models don't have it reaching tropical storm strength. Maybe it might be a depression though, and the rest of the models do have it approaching or tropical storm strength or greater. So it's still we'll still have to see what happens with the intensity. If you do take a look at the rain forecast from the GFS, they do have about 2 to 3 inches here on Cape Hatteras and just offshore some areas maybe 4 inches to even 5 inches. So definitely some flooding possible, especially considering that the ground is already very saturated in this area from Hurricane Florence. So there's definitely going to be some flooding and some threat with this storm, even if it doesn't develop into a named storm. Now, taking a look at former tropical storm Kirk, the reason that the NHC did end up classifying it as a remnant, no longer a tropical system, is because they said that they could not find a closed center of circulation, and for it to be a tropical storm, it has to have a closed center. And if you do take a look at the satellite imagery here of the remnants of Kirk, you can see there's a lot of thunderstorm activity going on. However, there's no defined center whatsoever. You really cannot tell where the center of circulation is with the system. It could really be anywhere in this giant blob of thunderstorms. So that's why it was downgraded to a remnant low. But again, it is still firing some very strong thunderstorms with the cold cloud tops, excuse me. So it does still have some time to get its act together. If you take a look at the wind shear map again, it's still in this area here of low wind shear to 5-10 knots, but it's quickly approaching this area just to the east of the Lesser Antilles, a wind shear of 30 knots. And by the time it gets there, it'll be running out of time to redevelop. And by then, if it does not develop by then, it will probably be sheared apart. Even if it does redevelop into a tropical storm, it will probably weaken shortly after that. So it does not look like it's going to be much of a threat. If you take a look at the track models, most track models do have it approaching the Lesser Antilles in about 3 to 4 days. But again, it probably won't be that strong, but it still will be dumping some heavy rain and giving some gusty winds to that area. And taking a look at the intensity models, it's about split 50-50, with half of them do have it maybe re-strengthening to a tropical storm briefly, but then degenerating again in about 4 to 5 days' time. And then half of them have it continuing to strengthen even after day 4 to 5. And even a few even have it approaching hurricane strength or even higher intensity than that. So it is possible that it will still be able to strengthen, but it's looking less and less likely as it continues to stay weak. Now, if you take a look at the next 5 days for the GFS model, this is the 12Z run. The 18Z is still coming up, but we can check that right after we check the 12Z to see what frames have been released so far. If you take a look at the 12Z model over the next several days, you can see that it has what's left of Kirk approaching the Lesser Antilles, 1,009 millibar low pressure system that would, at the best, be a weak tropical depression, and at the worst is just really a remnant low or open wave as what it is right now. And it also has Leslie here, becoming a strong system, but again, no threat to land, and it would be extratropical at this point. And by hour 120, no new tropical cyclone formation, which is good news. And if we do compare this to the 18Z run, excuse me, we can see that it does have the similar situation with Kirk staying weak and maybe probably not regenerating at all, and Leslie just meandering over the open waters of the Atlantic, not impacting any land. And then if you take a look at the European model, the European model shows a similar situation. It does have Kirk a little bit stronger and maybe a weak tropical storm when it approaches the islands, but it won't be giving much impacts with that. And again, has Leslie meandering. If you take a look at the FV3 the new test GFS, the new upgraded version of the GFS that's forecast to be officially in use starting sometime next year, I believe. But if you do take a look at that, it actually does have Kirk quite stronger This is the 12Z run. The 18Z run hasn't come out yet, but it does have Kirk quite strong. It has a peaking at a 990 millibar storm. That would be a strong, pretty strong tropical storm. And then however, it does have a weakening as it approaches the islands and then dissipating completely by the time it does make it there. Um, so even if it does stay a little bit stronger here, it should, by the time it gets to the islands, it will probably be weak tropical storm at best, and most likely it will probably be a depression or just an open wave. So the most you have to worry about is probably just some heavy rainfall possible. And now looking closer to home in the Northeast, I do want to see what the forecast does show for the next 5 days. As always, we have this rain system that'll be impacting areas in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York over the next couple of days, starting tonight into tomorrow, and it continues even throughout, or it stops around early Wednesday morning. And then it does have more rain, however, coming Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And then it should finally stay clear from there on out for at least a few days, which is definitely good. We really do need some time to dry out. Now, we've had a lot of rain recently. If we take a look at the rainfall totals, does have about at least 1 inch for most of the Northeast area and Mid Atlantic, and it does have some heavier areas of 2 to 3 inches here in western PA and in eastern Ohio. So we'll definitely have to watch and see how much rain does end up falling, as that could cause some flooding concerns. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.